Alright, we're back here, Homebuilt Garage. We're going to look at a turbo today. It's for a 2013 TDI Jetta. And what I'm going to do is I already got the wastegate pulled off. It's just 3 bolts here. And then you had to take, there's a little clip off and back that nut off. Actually, it's not a wastegate. This is a variable vane turbo or variable geometry turbo, however you want to pronounce it. The actuator runs this, and there should be the vanes or a plate or something inside here. We're going to go ahead and pull these bolts off. I think there's 5 or 6 of them going around here, and pull this hot housing and see what there is inside and make sure there's no crud or nothing in there. This is a used turbo, so I just want to check it before I go and put it on. I'm also going to want a paint mark somewhere here, anywhere really, just to make sure you put that right back where it was and get it properly indexed. All right, just a little tip here. These are fairly tight. You take a chance of breaking these if you're going to go this route and tear this thing apart. It's a chance I'm willing to take just to make sure this thing's good before I put it on. Of course, there's no real warranty with this thing. I got it used off a guy online, so it's not like it's a junkyard where they're not going to take it back or take it apart. So, but anyways, they're pretty tight. So what I'm doing is putting a wrench in there, holding it there with my thumb, and then just taking a block of wood, smacking the end of the wrench, breaking them all loose, and then I can go around and take them all out and then try to split the housing from the actual turbo cartridge. Okay, so I went ahead and took all the screws out, but like 2 or 3, just left them really loose and tapped here, tapped around on, different spots that I know were solid. On the manifold, you see a shiny spot, just to kind of work it up out of the housing. You gotta be careful doing this because you don't want this thing to get jarred one side or another and screw up your turbo fins on the other side. So just be gentle. It shouldn't take a lot. If you really find yourself beating on that thing, you should probably just cancel it and not risk it. Just try to throw it on and see how it works. I'm doing this just to make sure everything looks good in there anyways. I suspect it is good in there, but it wouldn't be worth the risk if it got really fighting you. Okay, so I got the turbo off, and there's a piece of crud there. Turbo fins look good, they're symmetrical, but that little piece of crud there, maybe a piece of gasket or something got in there. It's also really carboned up. You see a lot of the carbon in there, little pebbles. That's actually pebbles of carbon. That's what I'm in here to clean up. Okay, so this is inside the turbo, and you can see these little vanes move in and out, and what that does is changes the flow or the volume of the exhaust going out, which changes the speed of your turbine, and that is all controlled by this guy. So this guy pushes on the rod, so you got your actuator pushing on your actuator shaft or sector shaft, rod, whatever you want to call it, which kicks this dog leg guy back and forth, and that guy sits right in this empty slot here and rotates that and runs your vanes. So it's a pretty simple process, but kind of complicated, I guess. But it works pretty good. And the biggest thing with these is you get a lot of carbon buildup in here, a lot of, anything really. I think that was a piece of gasket that was stuck in mine. Maybe something the car ate, who knows. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and throw this baby back together. So putting this back together, I'm going to make sure I line that little hole up with that little pin there. And of course the little shaft has to line up with that empty slot there. And then I also have my paint mark on there and on there. So it's kind of a little tedious task, but you got to do it. Make sure you don't hit them fins too hard because you'll bend them, break them. But we're going to get this thing put back together. Okay, so putting this thing back together, you want to make sure you pull these in even. This is still up a little bit, but you want to kind of put that in as even as possible. That way you're not getting it sideways and damaging the fins on the hot side. So I'm going to kind of snug these up around there, bring them in even. Make sure it's in the whole way. So what I'll do is once I got them tight, I'll tap a couple spots around with a just soft piece of wood and then go through and check to make sure it's tight again, and then look at this gap here and make sure it's even the whole way around. Okay, so once you're done, I'm going to go ahead and make sure it still spins freely. Believe it or not, a lot of turbos have play side to side this way. What they don't want is play in and out this way. So, you know, a lot of people think just because it has a little play this way that it's shot. Well, that's not necessarily true. These things are balanced, and they're balanced to the point that when they're in there spinning, they're actually just riding on your oil and your bearings. So, and a lot of these aren't a ball bearing. A lot of them are actually like a bushing style, and therefore some of them you'll have play and some of them you won't, depending on what style bearing it has. But they're meant to ride on the oil, not on the actual surface of the metal of the shaft or anything. So in a perfect balanced turbo, it'll balance and it'll go straight. I got my free travel. I'm going to go ahead and spin the shaft while running this both ways the whole way, kind of slowly, and make sure I don't feel any binding. Other than that, I'm pretty much going to put this thing back together, put the actuator back on there, and get it back on the car and see if we can't get this thing running. Hopefully today. I got to pull the old one off of that one yet, so it had a broken shaft, but this thing should be good to go. All right, so that pretty much does it for the turbo. I'm going to go ahead and try to get swapped out today. I'll probably do some video on that. I'm not sure yet, but hopefully. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. And also, check this car out. It is an Audi S4 that I'm doing. It's wrecked. Bought it from Copart a couple months ago. It's been slow going process, but hopefully pretty soon I'll be dropping another video of it. I got one out there. It's kind of sketchy camera work, but we're still learning on that. So anyways, thanks for watching.
Please subscribe.